Well, good afternoon and welcome to Series 2. And this is the first episode, and absolutely thrilled and delighted to be at Trump Turnberry with three very distinguished guests. Some I know, some I don't know. Firstly, and probably most importantly for today, because we're up on a press junket, thanks to Azalea PR, to look at the new holes on the Ailsa Course. And we're delighted to have Martin Ebert. Martin, welcome.
Thank you.
We also have the legend that is Ricky Hall, who has been at Turnberry man and boy since you were, what, for 25 years?
25 years.
Fantastic.
25 years and
Is
going.
it really 25 years?
I know, incredible.
Are you here with Mr. Jameson?
Just Mr. Jameson at the left. It was Brian Gunson, if you remember Brian.
Gunson, yeah,
It was Brian that brought me,
Yeah,
here.
go. Wishes and names there. And a few others that have rolled off since then as well.
Absolutely.
We'll come on to that.
Yeah, we'll come on to that.
And then Alan Mackenzie. From, well, his career is amazing because he's only had...
About that, right.
Huh?
Patterson.
Oh, I'm thinking
Mackenzie
of Jim.
Ebert. You think Mackenzie Ebert?
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to stop.
I'm thinking of Jim. Now I'm thinking of Jim Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Wrong one,
Jim
wrong one.
Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Sorry, so we start that again? Oh, no, okay, you cut that out. That's perfect. That's why.
Sorry,
You
good.
can edit that. There you go, he's clever, isn't he?
And we've got Alan Patterson, and Alan and I worked at St Andrews, but as a career, you've worked at three places, and not too bad places. You worked at Glen Eagles,
Yep.
set up the Castle Course at St Andrews,
Yep.
and now since 2014, you've been here looking after the estates at Turnberry.
That's correct, yeah.
Fantastic. So, what do we talk about? First and foremost, we're going to talk about the golf course and the redesign. I haven't been here since 2010, so I haven't seen the changes since, well, the last Open Championship, which was 2009. And I believe they were finished in, Martin, 2016.
Yes, I think it was 2016. In fact, we made changes for that Open, didn't we? There were a few changes there. Where, the 10th went down onto the coast, didn't it? We put that Open tee down there.
That's right.
And you see, 16 and 17 were significant changes.
Massive change, really.
Massive changes, yeah.
When you think that it doesn't appear so now, but then that really was a dramatic
Well, it was
change.
Alan's predecessor, wasn't it? George Brown.
George, I mean, he was one of the Cardinals as well,
And 16 was the easiest, probably the easiest hole at Turnberry, wasn't it? It was a shortish four, just straight down the slope.
Yeah.
And I think when it came to 17, wasn't it? We were thinking of, no, he said, why don't we move the tees back? We said, well, that's fine, but that's in the middle of the 16th fairway. And then we said, well, why don't we dogleg 16 around? Oh, no, he said, why don't we dogleg it around? We said, well, you need something to dogleg around, and created this huge pit. I remember him looking down into it, thinking, what the hell are they up to? And then but it shaped up to be a beautiful feature.
Absolutely.
And probably the hardest hole on the course.
Amazing when you think now that the scale of that change versus what you went on to do here.
That's right, that was the forerunner. Then we had some plans with the previous owners to, well, when, again, George took us down there and said, look, that we've got this new land, so we can put the 11th there, we can move it on. Even though it was sort of a bit of an iconic look down onto that beautiful hole, it wasn't really that challenging, was it, the old 11th? And he said, if we move that on, we can move the 10th green up there. And so, but the owners at that point didn't want to do it. Mr. Trump comes along and let's do it.
But you'd started actually, you'd worked at Turnberry before when you worked with Donald Steele.
Yeah,
that was what's called the Kintyre time. Was that right?
Yes, but also I guess, the Ailsa changes were really done maybe in our new company, Mackenzie, which we started in 2005.
Yeah.
But obviously those changed. I think maybe it started under Donald, because obviously to get it ready for a 2009 Open, it had a bit of time to bed in.
Yeah.
But no, it was really a lot of history here, I suppose, in terms of with Donald and then subsequently. Yeah. And we were a bit nervous, to be honest, about Mr. Trump wouldn't know us at all. Why would he? No. And he was working with Gil Hans at Duel and Martin Hawtrey at Aberdeen. Yeah. And so I was sort of resigned to our fate of not being involved anymore. And then it was Peter Dawson at the R&A. Mr. Trump called him and said, Peter, I'm going to buy Turnberry. I'm thinking of taking my architect Martin Hawtrey in. And Peter said, well, maybe you want to think of a different Martin on this occasion. So I've got so much to thank Peter Dawson.
Yeah. No, Peter was a great guy. I worked with him closely when I was at St Andrews. And he was always very thoughtful about, obviously he had the R&A connection and what he had to do from that point of view, the Open, And I think also continuity as well for certain phases and patterns. And I think he also, if he likes to work with people, then he found it very easy to obviously get on well with you, which was great.
Yeah.
And first impressions. I mean, how was it working with Mr. Trump, and how is it working?
Yeah,
with
I mean, and it wasn't a done deal, I suppose, that we would be commissioned. But I remember having to make a call to him, and eventually we meet up on at Turnberry, and everything seemed to go well. I didn't know if it was to redesign the Kintyre as it was then, or focus on the Ailsa, but it soon became clear he wanted to take the Ailsa and turn it into the very best that he could. So music to our ears, music to Alan and Ricky's ears as well, because all of a sudden that investment was going to be flowing into Turnberry.
Yeah.
But I didn't think we would be involved with Mr. Trump. I thought we'd be commissioned and that would be it.
Yeah.
But no, he was on the buggy, wasn't he? Every visit he was there. Perhaps before I'd come, certainly after I'd come, and incredible. Just what the thought that he put into everything. It was amazing.
I believe it's his hobby as well. Is he really interested in architecture and agronomy? He's obviously done a huge amount for golf generally, and he's bought some great projects and developed those projects as well.
I remember Peter saying that golf needs people like Donald Trump. At the time when golf wasn't flying like it perhaps is now, we need people to invest it and believe in it. So no, I think at that time it was very much right. How do we make these changes, but also make it work for the Open and for from the RNA's perspective? So we had a lot of involvement from the RNA on that.
And how did you work as a team then? I mean, obviously, you're working with the owner to sort of understand his vision. You have to take that vision and then come up with your version. But did you involve, obviously, someone who's played the course and known the course so well for so many years, and then somebody who's got to look after it and maintain it as well?
Hopefully we didn't ignore you.
We didn't ignore us, no. No, it was a great. I mean, he was here a lot, wasn't he? I mean, your site visits.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed to be the brief initially was go and look at every possible opportunity that's out there, and then.
Well, the number of revisions to the plan that we produced.
I remember one day with Martin, we were out pretty much all day. Martin had to go before dinner to get a flight somewhere, and we'd literally been all day. We had all the plans, looked at it, and then at 6 o'clock the next morning, I got a phone call to go up to Mr. Trump's suite, and he'd been up all night. And this is when he talked about the par 3 coming back off the 7th green, going back down to the land that we've used now. Basically been up all night with, tees here. What's the yardage from there to there? Could we do this? So it was all in his, the land, south of here when he was looking at that. It was looking at every opportunity. So to be fair, it wasn't necessarily being involved, but it was nice to be able to watch the process and watch the relationship and watch the discussions.
Yeah.
Unfold and ultimately end up with.
I think when I started at the beginning of 2015, it was the plan we were working off and we were working towards starting was revision 14.
I think there was a few after that.
Revision 14.
Yeah, probably a few after that as well.
I think that was settled, and there was definitely tweaks, and there was definitely with Martin's, being here pretty much every week, the opportunity to get the best product you possibly can or could with whatever we saw on the ground, and Martin being there that much certainly makes a difference between there's no stone left unturned, there's nothing getting missed. Okay, if we do that slightly differently, we did that like the original plan for 11 was to have the bunker front left, it finished up with being front right, that kind of idea. So that kind of, on the ground, and Martin listening to, taking on board, we'd provide some feedback, and Martin would take that on board. And
I think that's an interesting point, because I was saying to Martin earlier that a lot of people who are listening to the podcast now are from the industry, and it might be owners, it might be managers, it might be directors of golf who are looking at projects, either brand new golf courses or tweaks or whatever. And I think it's really interesting to understand, having been within the industry myself, is to involve the team and how a vision evolves into reality, and also the understanding of the maintenance, the ongoing maintenance, and the playability as well. And because at the end of the day, this is a commercial return, isn't it? It as much as it costs, it looks lovely. I'm sure at the end of the day, it's got to be paid for.
Yeah. And as you say, the maintainability and playability. And Alan, I think maybe we relied on you to try and scotch some of the proposals, which we thought were a bit unworkable for one reason or another. And again, your knowledge on the maintenance side was so useful.
I think how it looks is a huge factor, but if the tough quality and the presentation is maybe compromised because it's maybe too difficult to maintain, then the whole thing's lost a little bit. So I think I've always said, look, it doesn't have to be easy to maintain, but it's got to be maintainable. So there's a balance. The fact that if you build something that you can't cut, or it's going to scalp, or it's certainly I think architecturally it's probably diminished if it can't look as good as it can from an agonomic and a tough
obviously
presentation.
From a bunker perspective, just because that's manpower to look after them, and as you say, how severe or difficult the banks are, and just things like that, which they might look great from a visual perspective, but actually from a maintenance perspective, that takes time and effort.
And it was also done at that time as well. There was a consideration on spectator flow, grandstand. Major tournament impact on it. That was factored in.
Well, that proposal for 18 to go back on the coastline.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The whole concept of that was that spectators could be walking from the 5th to the 6th through the carry of the 18th, shielded by dunes, and the players would be hitting balls over the top of them, because we always wanted to change that very awkward dogleg 18th, so famous for the opens, but just seemed a strange hole.
And it wasn't the hole that
the members played.
The guests play or the members play. No, so it was.
Yeah. But do you remember also when Mr. Trump, from back in his office, saw photographs of the 9th under construction, and he said, I think it needs some bunkers down the left.
I do remember
and it
that.
was, the perception from back in the office was pretty amazing, because it did need it, and it just sort of makes a bit of a visual impact.
Because there's only the one on the right hand side. At the time, that's right.
So it was just going to be a run-off, and I think actually that bunker just holds the green up pretty well. So
this is the first time, as I said, I've been back since the changes. But again, having been in the industry a long time, normally you get some criticism, and I would always say, like, "Oh, have you played the new term? What do you think?" To me, never heard any criticism. It was always like, and you could find people who would look for criticism.
100%. I mean, there's plenty lining up to criticise. I always remember we did we've got a small membership, but a very loyal membership, 350 members. Most, the dads, their grannies, their granddads have been members before them. So there's a big loyalty to Turnberry and what Turnberry is and was. And Mr. Trump held, once the plans were finalised and what it was going to be, Martin did some great, did you call it CGI then, 10 years ago? Was it CGI? So it did some incredible before and after footage of what it was. So this was the first time, we showed it to the members first, 350 people in the ballroom in the hotel, lovers of what it was, nervous about what Mr. Trump was going to do. 350 of them. Martin did the presentation, Mr. Trump did the presentation. They showed the video fly through of before and after, and it was any questions in the room. And this was the first time we'd seen some of these members for years. They all appeared. Normally you'd be lucky to get 100 for a summer meeting. There was 300 of them in the ballroom for this unveiling. Funny that, exactly. Opened up the floor for questions. There wasn't one question. Not one question. Just a round of applause.
Just mouths open.
Mouths open, a round of applause.
I think we knew, didn't we, that even for the golfing world, the members were really important, but the golfing world as well. The thought of Mr. Trump taking possession of a course with such great heritage. You could understand people might have been a bit nervous, human nature, and that's why we said that the quality of the materials, to show people what we're going to produce is so important. And again, it was fully supportive of brochure, wasn't it? Just with all the CGI images, the video fly-throughs and whatever. And it just shows how important it is.
And so how long did that process actually take, you think, from meeting Trump?
Well, we're lucky. We were lucky in some ways that we had the Women's British Open in the autumn of 14. 15. Which was, and he bought it in the summer of 14. So everything, the tournament in 15, everything was planned around it. There couldn't be any changes. Obviously, we couldn't close the golf course over that time on the run up to it. So it was seen to be everything's going to happen after the Women's British Open's been played. So it probably bought a little bit more time to investigate what the possibilities were, what the opportunities were, and to take the time for it to be a plan that was poured over.
And it was such a hard construction period as well. Because when was the course given over? Was it September?
30th?
23rd of September, I think it was, yeah.
And had to open on the 1st of May.
1st of June.
1st of June, was it? And that was reconstructing every green, every bunker, pretty much 5 new holes, you could argue. And so, for the construction team to achieve that was remarkable.
Good job that it's links course rather than you couldn't do that in an inland course, could you?
No, I don't think you could. Unless it was a really sandy site. But we were working at Portrush at the same time, where we were redoing 5 greens or two new greens and on 2 new holes and 3 greens on existing holes, and we wanted the root zone to be very similar to the other greens, so that there wouldn't be 5 very different greens. Here we were doing every green, so it was a much thinner root zone, and you could work it within an hour of a downpour. So that was a real benefit, because at Portrush we had to wait on occasions like 6-7 weeks before we could put turf back down. So it was a real benefit.
That's a huge difference.
That was probably from you mentioned the root zone of that. To make it the best it possibly can be, the plan was at that point initially to build, I think it was 10 new green sites, but the feedback was that's going to create consistency between new greens and old greens. So for the best, or the opportunity to get the best product, was to rebuild all the greens. Obviously that's a significant cost, but that Mr. Trump agreed that the fact that was the best way forward, so let's just rebuild them all. And we finished up adding the putting greens. We finished up, rather than just doing 10, we finished up doing 20 green sites. So we did obviously 18 plus the putter and built and secondary putting greens. So
he was quite surprised, wasn't he, when he said, "Oh, so what turf are you going to bring in to put on these greens?" And he said, "Well, it's going to be the same turf we've got." Yeah. Really?
Yeah, that was key. I think the key to us opening in the 1st of June of 16, and everybody going, "How can't believe how much construction we've done," was reusing as much of the existing turf as we possibly could, that mature turf, rather than buying in turf. We're quite a harsh environment, obviously, for where most turf farms are. Tends to be sort of Middle England, Lincolnshire direction. So that is going to struggle to survive in our climate, especially in the winter months. Salinity, direct salt damage, etc., direct seawater. So the key was to reuse as much. So all the green stuff went back down. The predecessor, Ewan Grant, the guys had worked really hard at managing the organic matter in that top 20 millimetre, so that was going to come off. It didn't go back in the way the construction was done. It was moved about to free up greens, to remove root zone, build, etc., etc. And then we took some turf off the Iron course to do surrounds. Existing fairway turf was reused, so that, and the existing 2-inch, existing 3-inch, bought in turf for tees and walkways. And I think that's what gave us that maturity and the best opportunity we could for opening in the 1st of June.
Do you think your experience at the Castle Course, obviously hopefully the Castle Course, wherever, did you learn anything from that to, just to think of those type of opportunities that you've just explained, really, just to look at the type of turf, the best way to grow in? Because, it's similar, but different. Obviously different side of the country, but the harshness of the weather, a links course, anything that you learned from that particularly?
A bit different, obviously, because everything that was here was tough, and obviously the castle was from seed. Yeah, so sort of, but again, it's that whole, I suppose anybody that's doing a project for the first time it's a huge undertaking. Yeah. But there's a lot to do, but the way I say, not all today. Yeah. So basically, just a bit at a time. Bit at a time.
How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
One bit at a time. So just basically tick your boxes a bit at a time. Okay. Obviously, the experience of what Martin had done elsewhere, so you try and utilise.
So again, as a team, working very much to how do we get to that end date when we actually have to open it and then hopefully get applauded.
Yeah. And I think the contractor and the personnel the contractor had, EC Omani, was incredible, wasn't it? How he managed to marshal that, all the forces to deliver on that date. I thought at certain points it wasn't possible, really, but they managed to do it.
You see, we had a great start in October of 15, and then we had 10 inches of rain in November of 15, which you're saying on most, if that was inland site, we'll see in April. Yeah. But that was, handled it well, and as is the contractor, site manager, absolutely fantastic. Just to marshal and push, and the irrigation contractor as well. I mean, to work in some seriously poor conditions, but just go on with it. So, a fantastic team involved in the whole process.
As you say, ground conditions are one thing, but lifting turf and putting it down in inclement conditions, productivity is pretty tough, isn't it?
One of the things also, I love coming to Turnberry, and it was actually with Paul Burley when Paul was director of golf here, and I was St Andrews. We used to talk a lot about, Paul's a real numbers person, he loved our numbers, and we go back and forth numbers. And I remember playing, and one day we looked at the lighthouse. It's like, one day it'd be great if that was a room, whatever, and a halfway house. One day it's going to, and that's become a vision to actual reality as well.
And again, I think it goes back to a lot of things that certainly my time here, there's various owners had bought the property, then promised a lot, as anybody buying a facility, a resort typically does. But there was always bits that they didn't get to, or there was always plans that stayed on a bit of paper that never got realised, and everything that they as an organisation and him as an owner of promised had been able to deliver. And it was 1986 it became descaled. It was last manned in the middle 80s, and it basically just was a ruin.
It's almost a folly.
It was a ruin, yeah. And it was always going to be a honeymoon suite or a fish restaurant or a halfway house, or it was always going to be something.
Yeah.
But it took him to realise it. And even things like the old, you see the images of it before, there was an old kind of telegraph mast, this on the course side, which you saw but you didn't see. But again, with his vision, that was going to be something that was not pretty in the eye. But there was no need to really do anything with it. But basically, with Scottish Power, it was buried underground. It was fed right back to the road. It was a colossal amount of money just to do that, just to take the ugliness of that away from the vision of the building. All these things were, no stone was left unturned, and he even just to make changes to that, which is obviously a listed building, to make the changes to that, it took a huge amount of time. They were working that for I don't know how long, and now it's spectacular halfway house and 2-bedroom suite. It really is.
I remember some of those iterations of the layout that it wasn't the ninth.
Yeah.
Or the ninth wasn't the ninth.
That's right.
Going down
right.
south, it was like the 11th or the 12th or something. It just didn't feel quite right, did it? So again, it all worked well to.
So that kind of almost tied it back, didn't it? You're right.
That was a big strong.
And it was Eric was big on that, becoming the halfway house, wasn't he?
Oh, that must be.
What a spot.
Yeah. Something that predates the golf course by say 40 years.
Yeah.
Finishes up on a stretch of holes, one of the best stretches of holes in golf, and it finishes up at the 9th green.
Unbelievable.
Just
iconic.
Yeah.
You think of Turnberry, you think of the lighthouse, and now you can stay in it.
I know there's not that many, iconic structures in golf. The R&A clubhouse, the clubhouse at Augusta, arguably the hotel, but the lighthouse is one of the most recognisable buildings.
Anywhere you
go, it's automatically. Yeah. So for it to be unused for all those years was a tragedy, but for now, for it to be what it is, it's truly incredible.
2 nice suites above.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
2 bedrooms?
2 bedrooms. One coastal, one course.
Okay.
1 suite rooms, living room below.
Wow. Good occupancy?
It's kind of, you can't do it anywhere else, can you? No. It's kind of that's the charm of it and the beauty of it and the uniqueness of it is you can't stay in another Turnberry
having
lighthouse.
talked about from Paul, when I heard it had been turned into a suite, I was like, man, we talked about it all those years ago, and it took someone with that sort of determination to go and do it.
That's right.
Even that is a reinstatement of a historic building, to invest that level of money to take it back. It was pretty. You went in, it was rock and ruins.
The light, the tower part was fine, but everything else was that was lighthouse board and still is. But the house was just with the rack and ruins. And also it's been fantastic, and what an addition to already an incredible stretch of golf holes to have that in the middle of it as part of it. So it does. Again, from from a guest perspective to come and have. And I always think that stretch from 4 to 11, the fact that it's par 3, par 5, par 3, par 5, par 4, par 3, par 5, par 3. It's an amazing stretch of golf holes. And everybody remembers an incredible par 3, and everybody remembers having an eagle and a birdie putt in a par 5. So we give them that, which is even more memorable, as well as the setting, the golf holes, the experience. Yeah. We're so lucky.
I think one of the benefits of the change of layout as well was that with the 9th being vacated, the old 9th being vacated, and it was such a strange hole, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was about 20% of the players could hit the fairway in the Open, or maybe less. But that allowed the 14th green to be put up on the top with amazing views again. So you're sort of returning the back 9, whereas before the old 14th probably didn't see much of the sea at all, did it? And then now with the 18th tee going back on to final return to that. And just the silhouetted images of golfers on that back tee.
Well, as we are called Grapes and Greens, I'm going to kind of break in there because I think it's a perfect break to. We always talk about wine. Today I've got a champagne because I thought, well, we should celebrate what we're here for, but also celebrate those original designs and how it's changed into what it is today, and the halfway house and everything else. And I've chosen a champagne from Wine and Earth. It's called Frère Jean Frère, Brothers of Jean, and on their crest they have cannons and cannonballs, and they made cannons and cannonballs for Napoleon in the 1700s, and obviously he won a few battles, so they got bumped up into high society, and they married into the Taittinger family. So they got on very well, etc., etc. But in 2004, Taittinger was sold to a venture capitalist company, and they knocked on the door of the maternal side and said, like, well, do you want to come into that deal? And they said, no, we actually want to keep our chateau and our vineyards and make really, really good champagne. And we went to their 20th anniversary in April, and they described the commercial champagnes are more like a symphony orchestra. They're massive, they're big, they're loud, and they get their noise and they get their grapes from all over Champagne. Whereas they class themselves as a jazz band in the corner, and 95% of all of their wine are made from their grapes from their own vineyards, which is quite cool. This is a Blanc de Blanc. So it's made of 100% Chardonnay. And let me know what you think. Cheers.
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 Cheers. Cheers. Very nice.
That's lovely.
Smooth, drinkable on a terrace after a round of golf. You can just see that. A halfway house, have a glass of that. It will be quite
nice.
9 holes will be fine. 9 holes will be fine.
Now I know you two heathens aren't really wine.
No, but I'd be lying to say if I was. So I would be.
But Mike, you just told me a story that you were on the wine committee of a very interesting club. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm on the wine committee of the amphibians, but I am on the wine committee. I think my title is enforcer, but no, the amphibians are a a great group of friends, and their motto is equally at home on land and in water.
Okay.
If during a round they hit the ball into a lake or a river or a stream. Difficult in a stream, but if they do a full submersion, they're allowed to throw the ball out on the other side, but for no penalty.
I didn't realise it had to be a full submersion.
Has to be a full submersion.
I'm making it a bad-looking brute to do that.
It's coming useful on occasions, and I think it would make professional golf a lot more
interesting.
So certainly Jean van der Velde, as you mentioned,
would have been helpful. It would have been helpful.
An opportunity at Carnoustie.
Maybe Rory after he chipped it in at 13.
Exactly, straight in.
Very interesting. But and you usually because you're a member of the RNA, and you said you just like to go for the top of the list. Is that's a good answer?
Well, no, it's just a very good wine list, I think.
It is. I think it's some great wines and at very good prices.
Very good value.
So. Yes, absolutely, very very good. And been lucky enough to have a couple of glasses of wine there as well.
Perfect preparation for an afternoon medal round.
Absolutely, 100%. So move on to today, and we're celebrating some changes to the course. Why change it when you didn't have any negative comments, or is it, like any good things, just the reason to keep improving? And people know. I learned from Augusta, Jim James, who was basically the head of the club side of Augusta. Well, they looked at the Masters. Everybody kind of said, yes, it was good, but how do we get better? And I love that. And there was a story that he told us that one particular year, it absolutely poured with rain. And as you know, the members they have different jobs. And there was one member who was in charge of toilets. Not the best job probably, but he was in charge of toilets. And because of the rain, he said, after the debrief, he said, like, Jim, honestly, we have to do something about it. If it rains in future years, our toilets have got to be much, much better. And you think, yeah, okay, fine. How do we improve that side with all the difficulties we've got of thousands of guests, or patrons, I should say. And so he went away and he said, I love an SOP, but I also have to work with, a system, and where do I get it? How do I get the best toilets anywhere at a major venue? So he got students. He gave them all uniform every single day. So they couldn't say, well, sorry, this one got messed up or whatever. Every single day. And he gave them the SOP, but he also gave them incentives. So every day there was the best toilet on property. So they were always trying to get this wherever. So guess what? When I'm lucky enough to go to the Masters, first thing I do is go and have a look at the toilets. They are immaculate. And I guess that's the whole thing, isn't it? It doesn't matter if you still think, I don't know, you've obviously been to the Masters. You've been to the Masters. So we're lucky enough to go. It's an amazing place. Everything is spotless, but it can still get better. And is that the view, do you think, of this particular venue?
What's amazing is, obviously we had with Mr. Trump initially, it was, but Eric's really taken on the mantra. He's really pushing for what could be improved, what could be better. Every visit that he makes, that's really the main objective of every visit, isn't it? And sometimes you even feel bad at suggesting things for everything that he's given us, everything that he's given this place. But he wants to, it is polishing a diamond now, but there's no doubt about it. He really has an appetite to do that. And he's really taken on that sense from his dad. Certainly, Martin will tell you, with the new 7th and 8th, he's really taken on that outlook of making it better, but also the intrigueness of the changes and the architecture bit within him, isn't it?
Well, it was so interesting that during the planning of the 2016 project, Mr. Trump would always say, I'd love to use that land to the left of what was the 7th now. And it was so difficult to work it into the layout, wasn't it, really? But he wanted, as you said, he wanted a short hole in there. He just loved that area, didn't he? And, I have to hold my hands up and say, well, really, Eric, who came along and thought about, okay, why don't we dogleg the 7th more sharply than it? And it was always a dogleg. And I just thought it played beautifully up the valley and was one of the greens was perhaps most proud of in a way.
And he was right down the lighthouse.
Yeah, exactly. And then he said, no, we want to get this green on the coast. And it really fell into, I guess, Mr. Trump's desire to use that piece of ground. And it really has produced a phenomenal hole. And 8 has really benefited as a result as well, because that's been sort of straightened out and the fairway camber's much more suitable from the new tees. So both holes have really improved.
In your view, were they the most important to be done now, or was it you felt, because I'm sure there's 3 of you and Eric and Mr. Trump, so you're looking as a team. How did you come up with, we're going to do this, this, and this, or was it just a case of kind of in time, and yes, we're going to do these now, and then we might do some others later, or why choose those first?
Those were probably the key
holes.
holes.
It probably came through Mr. Trump's desire to look at 6 and 7 was really what it came to, wasn't it? So after the changes, Mr. Trump always thought that maybe the par 3 6, the green site could have been on the dune, playing to coastal green, and then 7 could have the tee on 7 could have been almost where the six green is. That was always something that he reverted back to as a possible future change. But then Eric and Martin came up with this way of 7 and 8, almost took that out of the equation.
Sort of.
Talked about, sort of.
I mean, it would still be possible.
Yeah, it might still be possible.
As you know, I'm still defending the current 6 as much as possible. But no, as soon as the concept was discussed, I think everyone saw the benefits in it. But it wasn't without a huge amount of work and sand to be moved to create 7 and then have that separation between the 7th fairway and the new 8th tee. So it was a significant undertaking, but again, never questioned in terms of, okay, if that's what we've got to do, we've got to do it. Mm-hmm. And then even during construction, Eric comes along and just says, I think it'd be better with the fairway the green and 2 meters lower, wasn't it really? And then everything got lower, more sand was needed to be excavated. So, and very good judgment.
When you're designing those changes as well, do you, in the back of your head, you got kind of best players in the world, or we've got your playability and
yeah, I mean, in a venue like this, everyone really, isn't it? It needs to fulfil its ultimate objective as a test for the best golfers in the world. But it has to be good for Ricky's members, and it has to be good for all the visitors that come in. Sometimes that doesn't mean you need to dumb down things. I mean, you wouldn't. Everyone who plays Royal Troon wants to play the postage stamp, and the carnage that can wreak. So, but I think obviously with varying tee distances, then that can make a big difference. But I think it's very playable, isn't it? Really, of course. Yep. It's very playable. But you can toughen it up if you want to stick the flags in tough places. And go off the back tees.
I've always felt that, but the Ailsa Course anyway. As a Open Championship venue, as a storied links course, it is kind of all in front of you. You stand on the tee and you can see what you've got to do. It's there. It is there. It's always kind of been there in front of you, hasn't it? It's not been blind shots. It's not been hidden. It's not been, I've only got to hit that again tomorrow. I'll go over there instead. You don't get that, and you never really got that in Ailsa Course, and even less so now.
And previously, it was always regarded as, for the good players, the greens were relatively sympathetic. They would sort of collect the ball into the middle, the majority of them, wouldn't they? And so that maybe flattered them a little bit and limited your flag positions to a certain extent as well.
Yeah, I think they made some tweaks back in 15, 16 to gain some more pins, like 15. The original, the 7th first time round was made a bit flat at the back just to try and gain some pins because they were pretty limited.
Yeah, that's right. So it can be varied quite a bit, day to day, depending on flags. And so that was one mission on the detail of the green design, was to provide more flags, but more interesting ones at certain times, and variation in terms of level of difficulty.
And again, from time perspective, because obviously, how long did these changes take from agreed design through to implementation and actually put into play?
What was your
initial concept was discussed initially? I'm going to say Mr. Trump's visit here in 2023, and it was obviously the concept was started at that point. And obviously went through the process of everything that was needed to be done to then start in try to think when we started. October, and then we opened to then 1st of May was the target. Obviously did a bit more, and obviously that was delayed to the middle of June.
Permission as well. So
obviously we had to go through a lot of process, the ecology and all
because it was
this.
so close to the coastline.
But relatively compared to other projects that you talk about, pretty quick.
Well, similar timescale to the big one, really.
In many ways.
I mean, for those 2 holes, it was a big project, wasn't it? I mean, it was a massive work.
It was a big working area, and obviously trying to take everything. So basically, all the translocated rough had to be lifted in a certain way, and then it had to get moved to the right hand. So everything that was on the left went to the right, and everything was on the right went to the left, and it simplified. But that was reusing all the existing fairway turf, greens turf, surround turf, existing green root zone. So again, the contractors were able to try, and it was a very complicated puzzle because there was very little room either side to use for storage, and so to try and they did a phenomenal job of figuring out the best the methodology for getting it to work, of just building a bit, lifting a bit, building a bit, lifting a bit, irrigating a bit.
Is there looked at your history. You're an engineer by trade, aren't you?
Indeed, yeah.
Obviously, there's quite a bit of tarmac out there as well from the runways and things like that. Did that come into a design element as well, or was it a construction element?
Well, it's been of assistance, I suppose, as a stockpile area of transport haul routes and whatever.
Okay.
Wanting to be hidden from view when it comes to playing the golf holes as much as possible. So no, I think it's been an asset. Isn't it,
certainly a key asset in 15, 16, especially when we had mentioned that really wet November, where if you hadn't the runways, then you've in a lot of places you've got the King Robert, or at that point the Kintyre was in front of the Ailsa, but the access for heavy plant, for your stockpiles, for screening areas, things like that.
Certainly wasn't a hindrance.
I'm sure it certainly was at that point, and then I think that was key to the minimal amount of damage that, or I don't know what people's perception when we opened back up in 16 was, but certainly that was minimised by the fact that we didn't have haul routes everywhere.
And Ricky, you had the Scottish Shuffler come and play just before the Open, was that?
He was here last year, just before the Open.
Okay, last year before the Open.
Last year before the Open, he was here.
And what was his feat?
Oh no,
he hasn't played.
Well, he'd never been to Turnberry. That's the first time he's been
Okay.
to Turnberry, and he played Beautiful Morning,
Sam Burns,
and both their caddies actually.
Okay.
It was a football,
Wow.
and Beautiful Morning, and played off the back pegs and tickled it round and 7 under. But he loved it.
Yeah.
Both of them absolutely loved it.
So looking forward to the Open coming back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's very
Crowds,
much. I think
good people watching or not really? Was it so quiet?
It was one of these things that the kind of the small crowd get bigger as they got in the back nine. But it was a great watch, and they were out for fun, and they had fun, and they loved the golf course. So. And that's always been the feedback, it is the players that have been, it is that good. Yeah. That's the thing.
And Mr. Trump obviously was over fairly recently.
He was over a few
weeks
weeks ago.
And happy with.
Delighted, and there's always that little bit of. But particularly, I think this more so because this is 7 and 8 was really Eric's. This was really kind of Eric is lived and breathed these changes really more so than maybe the other ones, because it was all.
Must have been amazing when he came around the corner and saw that view.
No, exactly. And even that standing up now, you can see when you stand to the left of the 7th tee, you can't believe it is the 7th tee, but it is the 7th tee. You can't believe that's the golf hole that's over there. You can't think for a minute that it is. I don't know if anyone else have been to it. I've seen, you know what I mean? Just what's over there.
When we saw that, it was crazy, wasn't it?
So it was fantastic just to see his delight in Eric as well for having the foresight to do it and to work with Martin to achieve it. It was great. So
we shouldn't be remiss not to mention if we didn't mention EC Hermione again, who seems to just know what Mr. Trump and Eric Trump thinks as well, almost before they think it. And Jamie O'Reilly on the shaping front, the quality of shaping.
Good shaper is huge,
and also just the dunes and the placement of rough vegetation to make it look like it's always been there. They lift the heaviest rough vegetation and put it back down. And it's incredible.
I mean, it's really disorientating. You cannot believe when you actually work out where. The start of the dog leg is pretty much as it was. The bunkers have been moved, the bunkers have been changed, but the kind of turn of the dog leg is pretty much the same as it was. But you cannot believe where the old green was versus where the new green was. It's incredible.
Yeah, if you stand and look at where you stand in the line was the right to the lighthouse. You go, can't believe it. You can't even visualise it being that far right.
But they are incredible.
Because the dunes to the right, the way Jamie shaped them, it looks like they've always been there. It really does. That's the great thing about them. I mean, the concept, but then the execution is so important to get the right people doing it.
Coming back to then operations, obviously we said before it's going to be paid for too. Alan and I spoke at lunch, and you look at Scottish golf, and obviously you're involved with a number of courses as well, and you're seeing. Since the pandemic, it's just the prices of green fees going through the roof, Americans coming over, and not a tee time to be had, which is great. Does that put more emphasis on the maintenance of the golf course and also the service that you have to provide. I mean, obviously, there was quite a big press release that it's £1,000 a tee time at a certain time and whatever. Does that, and if that's what it is. Does that put pressure on you as an operations to deliver the expectation?
I think it does. I think anybody coming to turn with the expectation level so high, and when you see that building on top of the hill, when you know the history and heritage of what you're going to play, your expectation level is already sky high. So to meet or exceed that is obviously the aim for all of us each and every day. But so blessed to have Alan, not just saying it because he's sitting next to me, but the golf course conditions, everything as well, that makes our job so much easier, isn't it? The understanding of what the condition is, the understanding of what him and his team can deliver on a daily basis makes our life so much easier. So no, it is. I'm blessed in a lot of ways that I get to talk to people that play the best golf courses in the world every day. And the great thing about it, when they come off the golf course, it is Pine Valley, it is Cypress Point, it is Shinnecock, it is Mary. They've always played everywhere there is, but that's always in 1, 2 or 3 every time I talk to them. And that's a true testament. Forget any rankings or anything that's that's subjective. That for me is the real ranking, and it genuinely is in the top 1, 2 or 3. And the £1,000 green fee was one that we were always. You can play the Ailsa Course after 12 o'clock or after 1 o'clock if you're not staying with us on the resort as a guest. But that was really, we kept the morning times for hotel guests. But we had a lot of instances all the time. People couldn't stay for various reasons. They were either had to be in St Andrews for a tea time that afternoon, or they were getting the boat to Northern Ireland, or they were genuinely staying somewhere else because that was how it's fixed up. So we had a lot of requests for people to play in the mornings. But we were always, no, you had to stay with us to play, to get a 9 o'clock tea time. So, we kind of said, well, okay, we can give you the 9 o'clock tea time, but we'd prefer you to stay and play and eat and drink. And we still want you to do that. But if you do want the 9 o'clock tea time, you can have it, but it needs to be at a premium rate. So that's where the £1,000 kind of came about, but it became the kind of headline. We're now £1,000. For every tea time, which we're not, but that was the kind of story. But no, there's pressure every day on what we've got to do, isn't there? When you're at that level of rate and expectation.
And you've also got members as well. So you've got a membership of 50 members.
We've got a thing called Ailsa Club Founding 50 membership, which we're sitting in their room, the private members room for the Founding 50 members. So we've got a category there. 50 members, which is our top tier membership. We've got Turnberry Golf Club, which was founded in 1902. It precedes the hotel, so it's part of the long history of Turnberry. So that's resident in Scotland to be a member of that. So 350 members.
Did you have to do another presentation for
No, we did produce it, but again, that the imagery and the CGI side of it, it's. That's it, isn't it? When you can do that, it's so powerful.
Really is.
It's so powerful. So again, we're so lucky that they love the place. They're so loyal to the place, but they absolutely benefit, but they love the changes that have been made, which is.
I suppose the trust has been built up.
That's trust has been built up. Yeah,
that's
100%. Yeah.
If
There's
something's going to happen, they're pretty confident
that it's going to be good.
Well.
Yeah.
From my side, from back to the expectations, I'm, Ricky says, I'm lucky to work with a fantastic team.
How many in that team?
We're about, green staff are about 32 plus. We've got obviously Divot team, we've got projects, we've got gardens and grounds, all in workshop, irrigation technician.
That's for the two courses.
That's for golf. So the golf course and estates department's about 50. Some are obviously working part time, some work full time. But I think we're fortunate to where this is the standards that we're looking for. I think sometimes our industry gets things back to front. This is what we want to spend and this is what we want, but that's back to front. So it's like, this is what we want and this is what we'll give you. So this is what we're going to invest to give the standards that you want. So we're lucky enough that we've we're afforded that. We're not much difficult in this. We talked about the climate sometimes of trying to find maybe the individuals that you're looking for or needing, but that's not unique to us by any shadow. So, but again, we try our best every day to try and deliver the standards that are expected of us. And I said we're lucky enough to have a fantastic team to do that.
Obviously, through our podcast, everything is about value for money. People, some very wealthy people come here, but if they're not happy, they'll totally tell you about it. But if they feel it's value for money, they don't really ask about price. They just go away happy.
And I think as well for us, a couple of things. I think Mr. Trump as well set the from a conditioning and expectation level. The first thing he did was literally write a cheque for a whole brand new shed of machinery. That was the very first thing he did when he got to Turnberry, because we couldn't have delivered his conditions with what we had in the shed. So it was literally, there is a brand new fleet of machinery, but now it's over to you. We'll give you the tools to do it, but now you need to do it. But I think as well, what we've got with a lot of our guests is they're on that little tour. It's St Andrews, Muirfield, Carnoustie, Kingsbarns, Troon, Prestwick, Turnberry is the typical tour that we've got to do. And I always kind of think that we've got to be the best of that. We've got to be the best of that.
That's not easy, because everybody else wants to be that as well.
Of course it is, I know.
And that's great, because that's why people keep coming to Scotland.
Yeah.
Because it's not only the heritage and the tradition, they're really good golf courses in great condition.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. That's great. That's great for the industry.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's where people aspire to. The other thing I was going to touch on is being within the Trump organisation. Do you get a chance, and do your staff get a chance to go and see other Trump venues so that they learn from them? I think that's always very important. That certainly when we were at St Andrews, we could go to Pinehurst, and we had other opportunities, either from a tournament perspective. So I went on to a number of majors to work on all different types of things, which I learned a huge amount about. But also greenkeepers or golf professionals or whatever, to be able to enjoy that experience, but then bring that experience back into the operation here at Turnberry.
Yeah, we work closely with the other properties. Maybe we don't do that as much as we should. Even the likes of the tournament in Aberdeen a couple of weeks ago, there was a lot of the guys from the States came over to be there for the back-to-back tournaments that they had at
Jupiter and Los Angeles.
Yeah, and we've had guys over there helping when they've had tournaments on over there. So it's something we probably need to do more of.
Yeah,
quite honestly.
It'd be good again from the industry. We're sort of looking at the benefit of the boom. Is yes, golf courses are getting built. People are paying more for their green fees, but look at the number of people who are coming into the industry, because there's lots of opportunities now. And if you could sell it the right way for younger people, the opportunity to travel, to learn at the highest, and this game, we've all had wonderful life from golf, the golf industry in different sectors. Designing golf courses, maintaining golf courses, looking after a golf course, and me trying to manage them. Is fantastic, isn't it? And having the opportunity to travel as well is massive, I think. And seeing what other people do at the highest level is fantastic.
Absolutely.
So we always ask 2 questions at the end for our guests. Firstly, if you won the golf lottery, you had all the money in the world, what would you do with the money? I'm going to ask you, Ricky, first, because you've probably got pots of money anyway.
No, spend it all on lager, not wine.
Or Rangers. We won't go back to Rangers.
Talk about the Rangers. What would I do? I had one off the bat. No, I always find just being in the fortunate position that I'm in here and be able to see what, considering we're talking about this, always just kind of, it's funny, you go to other golf courses and you think, God, if only you can see so many opportunities within golf courses, particularly links golf courses. When you see, I know it's a lot of money, it's a lot of effort, but it's very doable in a links course to move sand and earth and create things. And I always just think that there's so many great golf courses that could be so much better with if they understood exactly what they had. And the simple things like what we've done at 13 and 14. We've we never really touched on 13 because it's a big part again of the transformation. But we've taken 13, which is it was a good hole, but it could arguably be described as one of the weakest holes in the Ailsa Course if you were going to have to pick one. And Martin's created a kind of dunescape around it. You played your second shot into it. The Lighthouse Road, the 14th tee, the greenkeeping sheds were all kind of in eye view of your second shot. And we've put a dunescape around the hole. It's transformed the look and feel of the golf hole. The 14th tee, again, the Lighthouse Road, which linked people, guests just walking to the lighthouse and walking back. You stood on the 14th tee, you got a little view of them. Put a dunescape down the right-hand side, nicely, done it really nicely. Now it looks like you cannot see that. There's very simple changes that have a dramatic difference to the feel. And I just think I go to some golf courses and think, oh God, I just wish they've got that bit of land over there. If they could just do something to that, and if you could just move that tee or dune, hide it. So that would be something in the part of what we're talking about here.
Absolutely. Yours?
Trying to give Martin more work there.
I don't know, probably a couple. One from a personal and maybe selfish one is that you might want to start tick off some of my bucket list ones like Pine Valley. We've got an in at Pine Valley somehow. We're maybe not a member. But Shinnecock and the Merrions and the ones that you've the aspirational ones you've seen on television, and I'd love to go and do some of them. And probably, I don't know, from a lottery perspective, that I don't know, I'd just love to do some kind of, I don't know, foundationary thing in relation to maybe the young greenkeepers, the young golf pros, or the young guys or girls that are the aspirations that maybe the affordability is no there. Maybe from there's no every golf club gets an opportunity to send their staff to Harrogate, or which is obviously the BTME in sort of January for likes of that. Fantastic opportunity for education and network and everything that goes with it. But something that you could put a little bit back into you said the game that's through me maybe starting off as an 11, 12-year-old playing to for 1 minute thinking that would finish up where I am today, but maybe try and see if I could put a little bit back in relation to affording somebody else that opportunity down the line.
Very good. I like that. Very good. And Martin, obviously you've had a lot of money to play with, over the world. You've moved a lot of things. I mean, what would you like to do if you won all the money? Is there a specific thing that you think, I'd love to do that?
Well, I was only thinking, President Trump plays golf. Mm-hmm. If you use that money to buy Putin a set of clubs, Zelensky a set of clubs, President Xi, what was it? The Chinese president. I know the North Korean man. I mean, he's already a great golfer, but it just gets people together, doesn't it? I mean, buy them a set of clubs, send them off to play golf together, and I don't know,
job done.
Rain in the world.
So have a summit in the lighthouse. All good. Fraser on Fraser champagne. I mean, that's done, isn't it? That's politics.
Well, I did say in better times. When we were touring the lighthouse, I did say, Mr. Trump, I think 2 presidential suites. You and Putin. But make sure you have the sea view.
I'm not sure what would happen if it's tide going down the last, though.
Sorry?
I'm not sure what's going to happen if it's tide going down the last.
That could be nasty, couldn't it? But...
And the last question we asked, I will start with you again, Ricky. You've got a 4-ball on a golf course. Mm-hmm. This is your last golf course. Where would it be and why?
It would be here.
Yeah.
It would be here. And I always say that it's a biased answer because we're all asked, "What's your favourite golf course?" And I still think it's hard to always try to put links courses in one category and Heathland course in another category. But I still just think that I'm on and out there. It's just nothing else beats it, man. It's just such a special little corner of the world that it truly is. And I think the fact that more often than not, towns and villages develop around great golf courses, don't they? They kind of end up, the scenery changes, but when you see even back to the hotel opening up in 1906, the backdrop was exactly the same. It's unspoilt. It does feel like you're away from it, and I feel very grateful to be able to come here every day. So I do think it would be here. Was that the question? Sorry, was that the question?
Yeah. But who would you play with?
Who would I play with?
So you play it here, but
it would be
Savvy.
It would still be Savvy. Savvy would still be the hero.
Yeah, I said that the other day.
Savvy but my twin brother, who you know as well, Neil, golf pro at hell, but my twin brother in there. I put Mo Norman in there.
Okay.
Mo Norman. I've always been fascinated by Mo Norman. So that's always been a story that I keep kind of going back to. It'd be good football, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Alan,
Oh, that's I'm just thinking.
This is why you need to read the questions before you.
You need to spend a lot of time. Do you want to go first, Martin? Fine.
Okay, yeah.
You go first. I think I've got 2 of my 4.
Yeah, and I'm going to be a bit greedy
3
here, if that's right now. But I'll start with the course first of all. I guess it's where you have so many experiences, and so I think for me probably Askenish was in there, but I think St Andrews. The old course. The first little game I'm going to draw attention to would be, I probably wouldn't play. I think I'd just be watching, and it would be the greats from all the ages. Old Tom Morris, young Tom Morris. So all winners at St Andrews. Bobby Jones, all those experiences at St Andrews. He could take everything out of his life and still lead a full life. Then we'd have Jack Nicklaus, Seve, would be amazing. And Tiger, I guess. So that as a bit of a 6 ball, but just the fact they've all got that history of
the old course,
amazing. But no, from a personal level, still St Andrews. It'd be preceded by a nice lunch, I think, in the R&A Clubhouse.
Decent glass of wine.
Decent glass of wine, yeah. And Son Elliott would be first on the team sheet. I've experienced some great things with him, including refereeing at the Open at St Andrews when he was 16 and he was carrying the scoreboard and we were walking up the last. So that was pretty special. He's a decent golfer. So he'd be first on there. Then my best man, John Taylor, J.H. Taylor we call him, 5 times Open champion. He played right-handed and left-handed for Cambridge.
Very good.
Which and self-described as equally badly, both ways around. But he's just joined the R&A, and I'm going to have my first medal round with him in September, so that'll be good. And then the other one is Laddie Lucas. PB Laddie Lucas, who was born in Prince's Clubhouse, was a Battle of Britain pilot, an MP. He crash-landed at Prince's, where he was born. Henry Longhurst said, "That's the first time you missed the pot bunker at the 8th," something like that. But what people don't realise is that he got out of that plane and then he ran back 2 miles to the station and took off again. So one of the most bravest men you can imagine. And he played in the Walker Cup at St Andrews, and he was paired with Leonard Crawley. And so he, in the foursomes, had to go out. And I think it was the night before, as brave as that man is, or was, he went to Leonard and he said, "Leonard, I can't hit the first tee shot. I'm too nervous." And so Leonard Crawley had to switch the way around they played. Leonard knocks it down the first. Laddie doesn't get it over the burn, I think is the description in his biography. But anyway, he recovers his composure and they win. But he was, and I got to know him along with my best man, and he was a Walker Cup player, played in Pine Valley as well. A great individual, a great hero. And
he was a member of Wentworth actually.
Was he?
And
Sandy Lodge. He was a member.
Yeah, and he had. I remember I joined Wentworth in 1992. Obviously, I think it was the first tournament, and it was the Laddie Lucas trophy that they played for. And I always remember that. It was like, the first sort of, that's when I got to meet the members and that type of thing. So yeah, you brought some memories back for me.
He was some hero. But he made you feel as though you were as good as him, and you obviously weren't. Left-hander as well.
There you go. Well, I'm a left-hander too. Actually, that's the thing is, you look at left-handers when you design golf courses, you make them easier, don't you?
Well, more in Canada because there's a lot
so
more
many
left-handers.
That's right.
Ice hockey. So
yeah, very good. Have you thought of your?
I wish after that story I'd gone before Martin. It's
a pretty hard one. Very good.
It was very good you had me. So no, I'm going to go. I'm excluding family members I'm going to stick it to golfers. I'm going to play County Down.
Okay.
So I'm going to leave the Ailsa out of the equation. So I'm going to play County Down. And I'm going to play with Seve. I'm going to play with Tom Watson. I'm going to play with Payne Stewart.
Wow, that's a good
Payne Stewart.
Yeah.
Who's your partner?
Who my partner, Payne Stewart.
Really? Seve? Not the Mercurial 7?
No, I loved it. I painted Stuart was one of my.
Really? Was he your hero?
Yeah, one of my favourites. Just a gentleman.
Great.
Yeah. I just
always
remember him kind of when I think was he playing? Was it Monty in the singles? I'm going to say was it?
when he was getting
Was it Brook?
could have been Brookline.
It wasn't Brookline. It was.
No.
It might, Oak Hill.
Oak
Hill,
Hill,
something like that.
grief.
And then he went and obviously Payne Stewart went and spoke to the crowd and said, "Look, that's that's too much."
Very good.
But no, I just grew up watching him with his Bright Claws +4s and watching his win at Pinehurst.
Yeah.
So that would be my.
Very good.
That's mine.
Gentlemen, this has been fascinating. I'm sure certainly so many people would love to come to Turnberry. You're very lucky to be involved in this wonderful project. This is Ash's first time. His expectations were there, and he spent last night here. Never been here before. He just went off the charts. Off the charts.
Good.
So,
Good.
And certainly the last time I came back was not in the present ownership. It was in Leisure Court, and just coming back into the clubhouse and then going in for lunch in the hotel. I haven't been to my room yet, but it's sensational. I mean, yeah, first class. I was taught by the great Willie Bower, who ran Wentworth, and he ran the Savoy as well. His attention to detail was incredible, and he would tell you the first things to look for in a room, and I still do it. You smashed it.
Well, I think again that just goes back to that condition thing, because that was the thing as well with Mr. Trump. It was pretty much said from the get-go, I'll do it, but you better look after it.
Yeah.
And it is, and it's that if it's bashed and bruised today, it can't be bashed and bruised in a couple of days' time. It's got to be, you've got to touch up, you've got to paint it. So I mean, we've always got
same thing. Not all of my fellow Spurs fans like him, but Daniel Levy is exactly the same. So his stadium, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that he worked so hard on, because I worked for Tottenham for 1 year. He's exactly the same. So they'll spend the money, but our offices that are now, I worked there in 2018, so they're probably about 10 years old, are still immaculate. And if you go to I don't know if you've been to the stadium, if you go to the stadium, it's still immaculate. He goes around every Monday or Tuesday with the maintenance team and goes, I want that, look at this, look at that. So it's preventative maintenance all the time. It's making sure that you're polishing the diamond continually. And because at the end of the day, clever business, because you don't sort of let it go and then it costs you a fortune to get it all done again.
No, exactly.
On a day-to-day basis, you're coming, it's a bit like looking after the golf course, isn't it? It's making sure that you have the pride in what you're looking after, and if the pride comes through, the attention to detail stays, you're onto a winner.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
and we can't wait we've got 2 more days, so it's great. Fantastic.
You did have the camera on, Ash, didn't you?
Cheers.
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 Thank you. Cheers, Neil. Thank you.